Hello, I'm Mrs. McCamick. I teach kindergarten in room 24. Poppy and I are here to read chapter 13, Early Morning. Within the log, but not too far from the entrance, Poppy found himself a soft place to sleep. There, cuddled up in a tight ball with her tail tip parked right below her nose, she felt safe enough to go to sleep. When she awoke after a long, sound slumber, it was dark and quiet. She got up slowly and stretched her aching muscles, then looked around for some sign of Aerith. The old porcupine was nowhere to be seen. Was he gone for good? Not likely. Poppy knew that, but he might have be gone for hours. She also knew she was hungry. Cautiously, she made her way to the log's opening. It was night, and she could see neither sky nor stars. A silver sheen of moonlight made a lace canopy of the trees that were above, even while transforming the ground into a carpet of velvet gray. She sniffed the air. Mingled with the sharp scent of pine and fir, she breathed in delicious hints of good things to eat. Nuts, berries, seeds, fragrant flowers, and tender roots. There were sounds, too. The creak and the groan of trees, the sudden shrill cries of animals, the occasional fuzz, buzz of the passing bugs. Poppy could only feel astonishment. This was not Denwood the foreboding. This was Denwood the beautiful. A luxuriant world that teemed with life, a universe that held more than she had ever seen or dreamed of, a paradise that filled her with an almost aching desire to dance through it and see more of it. Trembling with excitement, Poppy was about to take a step away from the log when she chanced to look up. On the gray, lifeless tree with a hole on its side, an acorn tossed from where she was, perched the brooding owl. The moment she saw the owl, Poppy darted back into the safety of the log. There she stayed. Her heart was thudding. Pa-poom, pa-poom, pa-poom. Had the owl seen her? She did not think so. Could it? In fact, could it be Mr. Oakax? If it was, how could he have tracked her? But perhaps it was another owl. She had to know. Poppy tried to calm herself. First, she pondered over her discovery that Mr. Oakax had lied about the porcupines. At least she did not have to be frightened about them. In spite of herself, she giggled when she thought about Aerith, such a likable, unlikable creature. Then she thought what else Aerith had told her, that Mr. Oakax was actually afraid of porcupines. The notion that the owl was afraid of anything gave Poppy considerable pleasure. Perhaps he was afraid of other things as well. So Poppy thought again about her suspicion that there was something at Newhouse that alarmed the owl. Oh, if only there was. If only she could find out. Feeling more hopeful, Poppy returned to the log's threshold to wait for Aerith. She wanted to take another look at the owl, but was afraid to. Instead, she sat, content for the moment to gaze out into the beautiful forest. The owl had seen was indeed Mr. Oakax. He was perched upon the entrance to his home, flexing his sharp talons and staring gloomily into the forest. Now and again he swiveled his head from left to right and blinked. Then he clacked his beak. Hungry, he wished that something, anything, would reveal itself by moving. Once, just out of the corner of his eye, he thought something moved at the entrance to the old log that lay not far from his snag, but it was gone so fast that he was not sure. Was it a porcupine? He hoped not. He hated Aerith. Just the thought of him made Okax drop down inside of his snag. Better to sit in the darkness and listen than to deal with that creature. If something came by, he would hear it. "When are you leaving for Newhouse?" Aerith asked Poppy. The old porcupine had made his way to the hollow tree before sunup. Bits of bark were still stuck to his lips and his chin and his whiskers. "Soon," replied Poppy evasively. "Good," Aerith said. "You're a sweet kid, but I like my privacy." "Aerith," Poppy began after a moment, "I know you want me to go, and I want to go too, but when I looked out there before, I think I saw an owl." "On that snag just beyond my door?" asked Aerith. "The what?" "The old tree with the broken top." Poppy nodded. "There was an owl sitting there," she said. "I was told Mr. Okax lives in Dimwood. Could that have been him?" Aerith snorted. "Follow me." Somewhat anxiously, Poppy trailed the porcupine out of the log. Is that the snag you're talking about?" Aerith said, pointing to it. "Yes." "Well then, you're right. That's where Okax lives." Poppy jumped back. "There?" "Absolutely." "Don't you mind?" Poppy whispered, scooting a little bit closer to Aerith. "Nah, he's a jerk. Anyway, don't get near me." "But he rules the whole territory." Him rule maggot milk. "But it's true." "Poppy," snorted Aerith, "there's a lot of creatures who live around here. Some are mean like Okax, but some are sweet like me. Nobody rules." "But he says he does." "Oh, bees burp. Just because you're scared of someone doesn't mean you have to believe him." Aerith turned toward the snag. "Okax!" he bellowed. "Okax!" "No!" Poppy cried. "Don't!" It was too late. Mr. Okax popped up from his snag hole in a panic. Poppy scrambled to hide behind Aerith's tail. "What do you want?" Mr. Okax demanded. "I've got a mouse right here by me by the name of Poppy, who says you've been calling yourself ruler of Dimwood. That true?" Instead of answering, Mr. Okax shifted his head, trying to catch a glimpse of Poppy. When he saw her timidly peeking out from behind Aerith's tail, he jutted out his head forward and opened his eyes very wide and hissed. Aerith laughed. "She also told me you claim that porcupines eat mice and that you protect them from me. Okax, do you believe that garbage, or do you just like the way it tastes in your mouth when you say it?" Suddenly, Okax's eyes narrowed. "Where did you get that earring, girl?" he shrieked at Poppy. "That? Something I ate?" Poppy became so frightened she began to back up. "What I eat is mine. Mine, girl, mine," Mr. Okax screamed. "Listen here, Okax," Eric snapped at him. "This mouse has as much right as you do to go and do what she wants. I don't want you messing around with her anymore." But Okax, ignoring Aerith, only cried, "Poppy, listen to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you might as well know the only way you'll ever get back to Grey House when I dump your dead carcass on your father's front porch." With that, he clacked his beak, then dropped down inside the tree. Alarmed and furious, Poppy ran forward and began beating her clenched paws on Aerith's nose. "You lummox!" she cried. "You lump! You rattling pincushion!" The porcupine just grinned. "Why did you tell him about me?" Poppy shouted. "Didn't you hear what he said? He's going to kill me!" Oh, he's nothing but feathers. He doesn't bother me. But you've got quills, Poppy protested. Jealousy don't become you, girl. Aerith, Poppy implored, I have to get to Newhouse. It's a matter of keeping my family alive. You're pretty small to be a heroine. Poppy looked down at her toes. That's not the only reason I'm going. Oh. It's also because of Ragweed. Who? Ragweed. He was my friend, Poppy sniffed. See, he wanted to ask me to marry him atop of Bangkok Hill and said it was the most romantic spot around. I did want to marry him, so I said I'd go, but only after asking permission from Mr. Okax. That's the rule. But Ragweed said, where's the romance when you have to ask permission? So we went without asking. When Ragweed and I got to the top, he did ask me to marry him. But before I could answer him, Mr. Okax killed him. Then later, the owl said it was because Ragweed and I went to the hill without permission, and that my family could not move to Newhouse. When they heard that, a lot of them, most of them, blamed me. Poppy pushed her tears away. You see, I'm going to Newhouse to prove that our being on the hill had nothing to do with Mr. Okax's refusal. If I don't prove it, my family can't go to Newhouse and we'll be ruined. I'll be ruined. So I have to go. Only now that you've told Mr. Okax I'm here, he'll follow me and keep me from finding the truth. You've got to come with me. Aerith shook his head. Sorry, kid. This is your business, not mine. Anyway, I need to get some sleep. Aerith turned and began to move toward the log. Aerith, Poppy called out, if you got me to Newhouse, I'd get that salt for you. Aerith stopped. He spun around. A dreamy look filled his eyes. The salt lick? From the Newhouse? The whole thing? You would? Really? Poppy placed one paw over her heart and said, I swear. Aerith grinned. Now you're talking, girl. Let's move it. Without a moment's hesitation, he began to lumber through the woods. Poppy took one look at the snag in the dawn light and then tore after the porcupine. The two of them had barely gone when Mr. Okax popped his head out of his hole. Having heard the entire conversation, he wasn't sure which he felt more. Whether he felt fury or fear. But he did know he had to stop Poppy. He launched himself high into the air. And that's the end of chapter 13. Thank you. It's lovely. Oh yeah, only 20